All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one will be doing our first review for the second half of The Walking Dead Season 10. This is for Episode 9. It is called Squeeze. Oh man, so pretty excited for the return of The Walking Dead with the second half of The Walking Dead Season 10. This one was a bit of a wait, I want to say, or at least, it's been a little while, right? It felt like it's been a while since we've seen Walking Dead, and so we knew, I think, with this episode, much of what we were kind of expecting to see. We'd seen lots of trailers. I mean, they released tons of stuff for this half, trailers and key art and pictures and all this different kind of stuff, which we've gone through several times in the channel during the break. What we were thinking was going to happen, and this one went, much how I guess we had sort of predicted that it would, or much how we thought it would be, which was that it split up between two groups in the mid-season premiere episode 9 with Squeeze, with the group that's in the cave, and then also with the Whisperers as well too. So picking up from where they left off with the cliffhanger mid-season finale, starting this one off, and this one sort of ends with a kind of a cliffhanger kind of ending this one, in us not being sure if Magna and Connie are buried alive or somehow might make it out another way, this whole kind of thing. So you guys can leave your comments below about that one first. I just watched the episode right now, so I have to kind of look back at the pictures. I'm trying to think of the trailers, and if there's any scenes where you can see Magna and Connie for the second half of The Walking Dead Season 10, where they're outside of the cave. So if they just find another way out, right? So whether they're buried alive and they actually die, or whether they find another way out, which I can't recall for the pictures. I want to say I feel like there was some pictures that had at least Magna in them, or maybe both Magna and Connie, so maybe they'll both still make it out alive. So you guys can leave your comments below about that one and what you think. But I'm leaning right now towards, okay, they'll probably find another way out. They'll probably be okay, and they'll probably survive. But Carol in this one probably pissing absolutely everybody off because she just can't stop herself, right? So she promises Daryl partway through the episode that she's not going to put others in danger anymore for sake of revenge, and they're fighting for a future, right? Didn't Rick say that at one part? In The Walking Dead, pretty sure, right? It's about a future. So, they're not fighting for revenge, right? So Carol keeps kind of going after revenge, and she wants to hurt Alpha in any which way she can, even to the point here where she gets with the dynamite at the end there, and wants to bury the Alpha's herd, or at least a part of the herd, as I guess a way to kind of hurt Alpha back, and she just can't help herself. Even after promising to Daryl that she wouldn't, she still goes and kind of does it anyway. So she's completely kind of lost a sense of self-control for herself and for the others. And now, from their perspective, you have both Magna and Connie who were buried or who were dead, and Kelly reacting to it, and the others at the end. But it felt a bit rushed at the end. I thought the episode was really good up until kind of the end part, which I thought felt a little bit weird, and I think the main reason for it was because it just felt too rushed, or it felt too crammed. Their reactions to getting to see them kind of buried was, I felt like it was kind of too fast. Like there should have been a little bit more time given to that part, because that was a really important part, and they kind of crammed it in really quickly. Just, it felt like right at the end of the episode, when they probably should have given more time to that, so you could see kind of the characters kind of like in awe, just what happened, take a minute, and then realize like what just happened, because you kind of need that pause. Otherwise it's like, right away they're like, oh no, they're very loud, and Kelly's crying, everything. It's just like, it literally just happened like 5 seconds ago. So Daryl's like trying to take a few rocks off the top, and so but it was an exciting ending, and aside from that, I thought the rest of the episode was really good. I really liked some of the parts of it. Should we go over the Negan stuff with Alpha first? Which was awesome. I like some of the different lines. It's funny. I just laugh all the time every time Negan's around. So you have Negan and Alpha, some different parts here. The bathroom part, which we kind of saw in like a sneak peek, I want to say. And so you have kind of the Whisperers. The Whisperers are like animals, right? They literally live on the land. They have like a designated, shitting area and this kind of thing. It's kind of gross. They're just like, just like animals, right? So, what does Negan walk up on Alpha when she's taking a D or something, and then they're lying about the shit's after a while you start thinking your shit doesn't stink, it still stinks, which is pretty funny, where he brings up the idea that the Gamma might be a traitor, might be a spy, and then she pulls the knife up to his crotch and then pushes him into the shit. Jacket save, because Negan's got the leather jacket on. The jacket hits, and he's shitless for the most part. To kind of get things going with them, which so I was laughing at that part. And then there's the mom line as she comes by to get him, and that was also funny too. And then you have the scene where he's going out, so she tells him to keep walking. That whole thing, don't look back, keep looking forward. Carl, don't look back. Keep walking. So he keeps going, and he thinks he's gonna be killed off, which is funny because it made me think of some other stuff prior to the series, like when Shane and Rick are kind of walking out, and Shane's kind of bullying him a little bit, or he's telling him to keep going, and it kind of brought me back to that a little bit. So from Negan's perspective, he thought this was it. Like he's kind of reciting, his life is kind of flashing before his eyes in a way, and he's kind of reciting that who he is and everything, and that he helped people, right? They were the saviors, and his name meant something, everything like that. So he thinks he's gonna die at this part, and then she tells him to take off his clothes, and like, huh? Okay, and then turns around, and then what? That was an awkward scene. She has her mask on. That's all she has on. So it's like here you have Alpha. She's naked, from neck to toe, and then she's got the mask on, which is pretty funny. And so I guess at first he's not sure about it, praying mantis kind of thing, he says, and then he decides screw it. Now he was in the cell for a while, so it's probably been a good while for him, and since he's had any kind of opportunity. I wouldn't say that I think Alpha's the most attractive woman in the zombie apocalypse that he probably want to, but it sounds to me like he's all for it, and so he he decides why not, and he goes in for the kill. So it's pretty funny. So I thought all that stuff with the whispers was good. It was fun, so it was good stuff with Negan and Alpha. It was fun. So I guess we'll go over each part of the episode from the beginning for the cave stuff, so we can give our thoughts on each one. So they start off with the cave where we left off, and Alpha's just absolutely trolling Carol, right, to the point where Carol's like screaming at her. It's funny, and Alpha's just a troll. She just walks out. You can tell she's satisfied, right? Make sure they don't get out. So I thought that was kind of cool, that she sends in her whisperers after them. But I did feel like to a point it was like video game-esque, because it just felt like there was probably too many of them. At first, like some of the first times they get attacked, when like Magna's looking around and then there's one that comes after, and that whole thing, and they pretty easily deal with most of them. But by the time it gets to the end, it felt a little bit ridiculous, because here they're in this spot that's like impossible to get to, because they're like crawling through this cave, and they're in this spot. It's so hard to get there and everything like this. And then you have these whispers that just are like running out. It's like, where did they come from? It's like there must be other ways to kind of get into these different caverns, or these different sections, or what have you. But it just, especially near the end there, like the one where I think is it Connie and Magna, and the others are kind of mostly out, and then all of a sudden some whispers just pop up. That to me was like video game spawn. It's like, oh, let's just throw in some whispers here and there. It's like, should they even really be able to get in there at this time this quickly? Kind of think not. But aside from that, it was kind of fun to see a few whispers in the mix. I thought they overdid it a little bit too later on, like I said. So there's that. We get the intro. We've got the zombie jump on the rocks, which reminds me of when they did in Fear. They did the ladder walk across the thing. So was that last year? Recently, yeah, that was last year. So now in Walking Dead, they do kind of the rock jump. It was cool. It was cooler than the ladder thing. It was pretty neat. So I like that. Kelly almost falls. Daryl has no trouble at all, of course, and Aaron and the others kind of get through without too much trouble. I did like some of the stuff with Carol throughout the episode, like Magna when she's pissed off at Carol, which is kind of funny that later on, like what happens after. You could definitely see by the end of the episode that Magna is absolutely warranted in her frustrations with Carol, because it doesn't just stop there. Even after she kind of hassles her a little bit, it's still it still really does. It really didn't matter by the end. We get the mention of the spies from Negan and Alpha, Gamma, right? So the eyes have failed. So Gamma kind of goes off, and we get the sense that she's kind of totally gone, sort of out of there, and maybe she won't be returning at all. So there's that. Carol wanting revenge, and then her and Daryl have the talk where she kind of promises that she'll put the others, ahead of herself, or she'll care about the team more than just trying to get revenge herself on Alpha for that. And later on, she kind of breaks down and cries that Alpha killed Henry, and then she just can't get over it, right, and let it go. She's just gotta hurt Alpha any which way she can, not just kill her, but decimate her, make her feel the hurt that Carol has felt, which it makes sense. Some of the parts where they're going through the cave were pretty cool. People did mention, I think, in earlier reviews, Forbes and such, that it was a little bit hard to see. And that's probably true. It was a little bit difficult to kind of see some of the different parts because, the camera was probably up close because it was, the amount of distance they probably had to kind of set everything up and film it. But I thought for the most part it felt pretty good. Yes, it was really dark sometimes, but that matches the environment. It's supposed to be dark. You're supposed to feel kind of where they are. They're in this spot. And I personally am not claustrophobic at all. I've never known myself to be claustrophobic, but there was a few spots there where I was like, oh man, that actually is kind of scary. Like, when we find out that Carol is claustrophobic and Daryl somehow already kind of figured that out or knew that. And you have the others and they're kind of like some of the spots they're just getting into where they're crawling through, particularly when they're crawling horizontally and there's kind of that tight spot. Or the spots where Jerry was like just about able to get through. Yes, he'd take his arm or whatever off just to get through it. And there's the walkers that are kind of biting at his feet and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. Or Carol thinks she can't do it, and then Connie kind of gives her some you're okay kind of a reinforcement, and then she's able to kind of do it. Because I really like that, because I still see Carol as kind of like the zombie apocalypse mom. There was that line before, like she's like the mother of the group, and she even looks like my mom. So so that's why I just think like, oh, mom's gonna get stuck in, it's like maybe one day I'll show you guys a picture of my mom. Yeah, she probably won't let me, but she looks like Carol. She looks almost exactly like Carol. So when they get older, they have look somewhat alike. It's funny. So, but yeah, I felt for that one there, as she's kind of losing it and getting really scared and everything. And then when Jerry, because I think for a while there we thought that based on the promos that Jerry might get bitten, that whole thing, or he might not make it out. It's called squeeze, so they have to squeeze through. And Jerry's a big guy, like people say, probably 300 pounds or something, or at least over 250. I want to say, and he's trying to get through some of these spots, which are really tight for him. So that was kind of fun stuff, and it is a different kind of territory than we've ever seen for Walking Dead. We've never seen something like this for Walking Dead. So if it was a little bit too dark, or if it was a little bit too whatever, then it's like, well, that makes sense because they've never done something like this before. And it was, a bit scary at parts and everything like that. For people who are claustrophobic, it'd probably be very scary, I want to say. And it was pretty cool. So I did like it. And then they're working their way through, and eventually they kind of work their way out. A few whispers here and there, spread in throughout with the attacks and stuff, which is kind of fun with the with a little bit of action and everything. Get up to the end and everything. There's kind of the pit where they drop down. There's all these walkers at the bottom, and it just reminded me like for some reason to me it was like video game, because I don't know if it's because if you ever played Tomb Raider or you ever played things like this, there's certain video games like you get to this, there's whispers come out, and the walkers here, and then you got to avoid this part, and don't fall down there or you die, and do this or you die, something like that. And and then you get to the end, and Jerry's like holding the thing up, and they're trying to get out. Aaron's putting the hand to good use, the whatever it is, the spiky hand. He's bashing out some of the rocks and everything, and then they eventually get out, and then we have the scene at the end. So I thought it was a good episode. I probably would rate it higher for me if the last scene of the episode didn't feel kind of awkward and just crammed in there to fit the time. I mean, I guess I understand like they wanted to include all this stuff, and they had a little bit more, and they kind of crammed it, and it went through a little bit faster than maybe they did. Like Daryl still being mad at Carol and everything, and Carol saying that he cared about Connie, and now she's dead and everything like this. And it just felt really rushed to me at the end that it was like that. So so that's good for the review for this week. It was a fun mid-season premiere. We still have 7 episodes. So we got lots of stuff coming up. I guess they're mostly out of the cave now, except for Magna and Connie. And we'll see what happens with them. and I'm going to give this episode an 8.1 out of 10. It was higher, but after the last scene, felt kind of strange. I moved it down a bit because I just felt like, yeah, it probably should have been done a little differently, or maybe it was just too rushed or whatever. For some reason, they decided to go with that. So maybe there was some stuff they could have cut out, like some of the whispers attacking near the end there, and some of the parts in the middle with the cave, maybe to expand on the scene at the end a little bit more. But no one does fake out deaths like Walking Dead TV series does fake out deaths, right? Can we agree with that? Can we all agree on that? There's no other series that ever has done dumpsters and cave collapses and things like that more. But I'm a skeptic at this point, to the point where it's like, if I don't see a zombie body, or if I don't see something like that, absolute confirmation, I usually think it's not a thing. Or maybe Magna will get out and Connie won't, or something. I don't know, something like this. So 8.1 out of 10 for me. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought about this mid-season premiere. I enjoyed it. It's really fun, just to have Walking Dead back on. And I feel like, because we're just not sure how many more years Walking Dead is going to last for, if it's 2 or 3 years, or if it's a few more, that's great. I'm just going to appreciate it and enjoy it right up until the end, until it's eventually kind of time to end it, because all these other series that have been running during the Walking Dead's run are already over, like Game of Thrones and like so many other Z Nations, and a lot of the other stuff is already well ended and well over, and the Walking Dead still continuing on fairly strong right after this episode. That's the way I saw it, fairly strong. Yeah, so it's good stuff, and enjoy it as always, and just appreciate that it's even a thing still. That's kind of the way I feel. If you guys like this review, please thumb it up below. You can share a favorite. Leave your questions for the Q&As below. Maybe we'll start with will Magna and Connie survive? And I want to do some live streams. Maybe we'll do a live stream this week, maybe later tonight or tomorrow or something. We'll see. And I'll be back for predictions for what I think is going to happen in episode 10. So I think it's called Stalker, right? I think that's the one it is. This is the Alexandria one with Beta going after Gamma, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So so that's it. See you guys soon. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.